If you thought that we were done with the Diddy situation, well, you might need to grab a seat because another one of Diddy's victims just came forward with some fresh allegations. And girl, when I tell you that the things he had to say will leave you shook, the accuser's name is Rod Long. And girl, the things he saw while working with Diddy left him so messed up that he ran away from the industry entirely and decided to become a pastor. Well, it looks like he is finally ready to tell his story and has a lot to tell. From accusations to Diddy dubbing in some shady occultic activities to Diddy allegedly flying in girls all the way from Puerto Rico for his freakoffs, Rod Long has all the tea, and he did not hold back. Okay, so there seems to be a trend of people working with Diddy getting so freaked out that they leave the industry entirely and turn to religion. And I'm not just talking about small-time people who are still struggling to make their way in the industry. I'm talking about people who were already making headway in the industry and were on the path to becoming the next big thing. The first we knew of was Mace, who was signed to Bad Boy Records in the 1990s and early 2000s. We still don't know what exactly he saw going down around Diddy, but it creeped him out so badly that he decided to stop making music and leave the rap industry entirely, even though he was already on track to be a superstar at the time. Y'all know how crazy it must have been for Mace to walk away from millions of dollars that he could potentially make as a rapper. He didn't even try to get signed to another label. He just straight up dipped from the industry. And like that's not suspicious enough, he never tried to go after Diddy for the millions of dollars in unpaid royalties that Diddy owed him. Instead, he chose to become a pastor. And even though he still dabbles in Hollywood here and there, he tends to stay clear of the rap side of things. Well, Mace is not the only one who got freaked out because Rod Long is another person who was almost ruined by Diddy. For those who don't know who Rod Long is, he's a music producer who was rising through the ranks of Hollywood in the late 90s and early 2000s. He eventually got invited to Diddy's circle to produce some beats and music for him, and while he was making good money working with Diddy, he claimed that the experience was very negative, and there were a lot of occultic activities going on there. According to Rod, he got into music at a young age and started making beats for people around him to make some money. He started getting some local recognition. Things started heating up when he took part in the Motown talent search, which was headed by Andre Harrell, who, as you know, discovered Diddy. Andre Harrell and Diddy have been rumored to have a shady relationship, with rumors going on that Diddy was allegedly Andre's boy toy. Anyways, when Rod met Andre, things started moving for him fast.
Goes on, I run into a manager, a guy who says he's an artist manager. The manager told us about something called the Motown Talent Search, which was put on by a guy named Andre Harrell, who founded P. Diddy. He founded a lot of people in music, Mary J. Blige, a lot of people in the industry. He was a very high up guy in the music industry at that point. And the Motown Talent Search was kind of like American Idol before the technology, before, TV. So if you got that opportunity, you had to take advantage of it because the competition was very stiff. And we got invited out and we did our thing, and we got invited back to a second round. So we were really, we were like, well, wow, this is crazy. Andre Harrell, Motown, like, man, this is crazy. It all came to an end.
Going by his connections to Andre, it wasn't surprising that he eventually met Diddy, because like I said, Andre and Diddy were quite close.
Go right now into like meeting Diddy.
Okay.
What was it like meeting Diddy for the first time?
Meeting him for the first time, it was, number one, it was the dream come true. I met some guys who said that they could get me to him. I'm producing records. They send one of the records, and I get a call, hey, Diddy loves the record. He wants to use it. And I get a check for $7,000 for that little bitty track I did. Probably took me 5 minutes to make the track. So I'm steadily sending more records. And now Diddy wants to meet. Now they're like, they want you to come to New York.
Now, before y'all start talking about how he shouldn't have ever worked with Diddy because of Diddy's shady nature, let me remind y'all that this all happened in the late 90s and early 2000s, and there were no allegations against him then. We knew that he loved parties, but that was all. It was a dream come true for a lot of artists and producers to work with him because he was one of the biggest names in rap, and people were dying to get in the studio with him. So when he said he was interested in working with a producer, y'all best believe that they would drop everything and run to him. Anywho, according to Rod, the next time he met Diddy was at a party, and this was where things started to go left.
First encounter with them, what was like your next significant encounter with them?
The next significant encounter was in Miami.
Okay.
It was in Miami at a party. I just remember him walking in and asking everybody, hey, what kind of girls do y'all want? And like, you know, a few moments later, girls came in. And I think somebody said they wanted Puerto Rican girls. And just a bunch of them came in.
Where did they come from?
I don't know. I didn't have the connections, but so, you know, we're in Miami, and that was just, you know, that was just one of the many instances where, like, the power that, you know, this guy could get whatever he wanted. There was already girls there at the party, but I believe these girls came specifically to do whatever we wanted them to do. So,
girl, Diddy has been wilding for a long time. He placed the order for those girls like he was ordering for a McDonald's drive-thru or something. It's crazy. Honestly, given all we know about Diddy, I guess it shouldn't be surprising that his parties grew from being wild to being freak-offs. But wait, it doesn't end there. According to Rod, there were also a lot of creepy occultic things going on in the studio. He claimed he often witnessed people holding seances over the music in the studio.
You described moments where you saw people actually doing seances over their music.
Absolutely.
So what did that look like?
So we would all be in the studio, and it would almost be ritualistic. You know, we would light candles, and as the beats are playing, you know, they would, you know, their hands would be moving like this, and they would be chanting different things over the music alone. This is before it goes to the writers. And honestly, I can hear it in my ears like it was just yesterday. Like it was amazing music. And I again, you don't get to those realms without a supernatural aid or a supernatural guide.
Rod kept going, and he continued working for Diddy, but the final straw for him came at a party in Vegas when he suddenly realized that he just couldn't do it anymore. If you think the story ends there, well, you better think again, because according to him, Diddy was not about to let him walk away easily. Now, this part kind of shocks me, because if things were just about the music to Diddy, why didn't he want Rod to walk away? I mean, sure, Rod was a good producer and he made fire beats and all that, but surely there were many other producers in Hollywood who were just as talented and would be fine either turning a blind eye to Diddy's parties or even partaking in them. So why was Diddy so obsessed? According to Rod, he and his family were threatened by people in Diddy's camp when he walked away, and they spent weeks coming after him.
Reds, we're gonna find you. You know, none of these guys knew my mom or where she lived. My mom started calling me, hey, these guys are calling. My wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, they were even calling her house. Yes, they were calling my dad. They even came to my church, it was very scary, because I almost felt forced into, I almost felt like, well, I'm going to have to go back into this, and I'm going to have to fulfill it, you know, because I didn't want anybody to get hurt.
Well, it's almost like, you know, I watched this video about the former wife of P. Diddy. I wrote a book about her. I can't remember her name.
Kim Porter.
And she was speaking about how there was only one way out.
Yes.
Death.
Yes.
Like you're leaving in a body bag. Or I think it was Rihanna when she got signed to Jay-Z. He said something like, there are two ways out. You sign this deal or out that window.
Yes.
She signed because they were on like a 20th floor of a big apartment building. And so these things are like cults. They're not really record labels.
Right.
Cult following.
Absolutely.
Wow. Why do you think it was holding on to you so tight?
As crazy as this sounds, this adds up to what Cassie said about how Diddy often sent people after her whenever she tried to leave him. She claimed that they would try to coerce and threaten her into going back to Diddy, holding her career over her head. In her lawsuit, she said, Miss Ventura left her home in Comstock and went to hide away at a friend's home in Florida. James Cruz, president of Bad Boy Management, tracked Miss Ventura down and told her that her single would not be released if she did not answer Mr. Combs' phone calls. A woman who worked at Sony Music reached out to her with a similar ultimatum concerning her record. Incredibly, Mr. Combs even convinced one of his attorneys to call Miss Ventura at this time. This lawyer told Miss Ventura that it's in your best interest to call Mr. Combs back. Each time Miss Ventura tried to run away, Mr. Combs and his powerful network would force her back to him. The fact that Diddy got his lawyers on board with the BS says a lot about the type of yes men he surrounded himself with. Honestly, Rod was lucky that he got out when he did, or things might have gotten worse for him, and he might have ended up a victim. Fans are shocked shocked by this revelation and they commented, shaking my head, we really don't know who Diddy is. Dude pulled the wool over the public's eye. I remember years ago reading a thread on Lipstick Alley about these women who went to visit Diddy and he was practicing rituals at his home while they were there. At the time I thought it was a phony story, but I'm not so sure anymore. What he is describing is not new. People have been doing rituals and having seances over music records since the 1940s. This other person thinks that Rod took part in the shady stuff and tweeted, "Oh, shut up. Where was your punk A when they were right in the middle of performing these ritualistic acts? You certainly kept your mouth closed then. Why talk now?" Yeah, this is certainly an interesting revelation, but I want to know how you guys feel about it. So drop your thoughts in the comments, then check out this next video.